kiss for you.
Alright, so attempt number 3, let's get this going. I've already had a bunch of audio issues, so making sure I'm recording audio through that. Good. Starting OBS, recording the screen. Okay, good. Everything should be alright. So, I already have gameplay recorded. I'll be going over that as we go into it here, but I wanted to start this with talking about how you install Google Play Games, what is it, and sort of looking over the interface and that kind of stuff. So, first off, how do you install this? Well, it is a beta, so you go to Google Play Games PC, it'll bring you to this Google Play Games PC beta, you click on that, take mobile gaming to your PC, you download the beta, no request or whatever, you click download, downloads this file here, you go through the installation process, and you're good to go. Important note here for the system requirements, you need an SSD as your boot drive. So for instance, if I go to my PC here, my fast boot C drive, my Samsung 970 EVO Pro, is my boot drive here, unlike my old hard drive or my external SSD. If you have an SSD that's internal, it cannot be external like this, but you have an internal SSD, then you should be using that as your boot drive in order for this to work. You can't, for example, attempt to use an external one as your boot drive, and you can't change the locations from where it's stored. So it's going to be downloading locally to your SSD here, sort of as a requirement, right? Also, hardware virtualization must be turned on. So once you have that boot drive enabled, you're able to download it. You'll just simply open the Google Play Games beta app right here. It's already open, and you'll be good to go. So with that out of the way, let's look at sort of what this is. So Google Play Games on PC is pretty self-explanatory. It is the Android App Store basically on your PC through an emulator. Other sort of softwares have been able to do this before, stuff like BlueStacks and various other ones have been able to like emulate what it might be like to have like a Pixel 3 or a OnePlus whatever, or like a Samsung phone, and be able to like emulate and play different games through that App Store with the actual App Store. I might have BlueStacks installed to some capacity, maybe. No, okay, I deleted it. It looks like that's fine. So, yeah, but BlueStacks was one of the ones where you could just open it up. It would simulate kind of like a phone. You can go through the store. This is a little bit different. This is supposedly still using kind of like an emulation-based approach, but it's kind of like native. So, you open the app here, you get your home page with a bunch of various games and stuff where you can download, and it will download them to whatever folder is by default. For the testing here, I decided to download and test a bunch of these games from like a good variety, I guess, of games here. So we have Asphalt 9 Legends, that's a racing game. We have kind of like an open world adventure game. We have a MOBA. We have a kind of Clash of Clans game. We have a action RPG, an MMO, and a tower defense. I chose those because they were, again, a good sort of variety of games. If we go over to the all games section over here, we will see that we have sort of like categories at the top of the screen here. We have a sorting system to sort by A through Z, recently updated popularity, that kind of stuff. But what you'll know is, importantly, I did go through this beforehand, and there's not a lot of options here, right? So like there is about, I think, over 200 or so games on here that you can attempt to try out, but a lot of them don't really take advantage of the ability that you have to play games on PC. And I think that's my biggest gripe with this system, and what I kind of went through in the previous iterations was this is not a well-designed PC version of a mobile game. This is just the emulated mobile game on your PC. So, for example, there is not popular games that you might want to play on a PC, like Call of Duty Mobile is not on here. League of Legends is mobile is not on here. Other things like Supercell games are not on here. Various kind of like just like games that you'd expect to be on here, that like any of the Clash Royale, esport titles, Vampire Survivors. There's not games that you would expect or want to be on here that would take advantage of certain features in this sort of way. So if you go through the tabs, there's like 6 games here. Some arcade games, 5 casino games, various like match 3 and town games, 1 racing game that we'll get to in a minute, various like AFK games, cookie runner, auto runner games, and so there's not a lot of like games that you would take advantage of the PC stuff. Strategy games here also don't really take advantage of PC. Yeah, so overall these are just like not a great selection of games. It is in beta, so I'm not really going to be harping too much on the selection, more so just what they decide to like include as like, here's a showcase of the power of what we built. It's pretty disappointing overall. So I overall chose these games, as I said before. You click play. I'm not going to do it right now because there's a problem with the audio where it starts on max volume for some reason, which is really annoying. But it starts on max volume and it's hard to like turn it down and stuff. So I don't want to have another situation where I literally can't turn the volume down. Just to look at what page looks like, Asphalt 9 Legends. It's a typical Google page. You get your reviews and stuff. It's like pretty typical. Here you have your what's new. You have your ratings and reviews, your developer contact. You have another about this section for the game and that kind of stuff. You have your continue playing on the side, and it's all pretty self-explanatory and well laid out. Another thing that I should keep I guess as note is the fact that this does sync with your existing Google Play library and sort of like progress and stuff. So if I start Asphalt 9 Legends here and I want to go and pick that game up back on my phone, I can do that and the progress should transfer since it is using your profile here with any of the achievements and stuff that you have. So with all that out of the way, let's get into some gameplay. I'm going to be able to just quickly showcase some gameplay here, depending on what I used. Let's see. So the reason I'm showing it through this is because hopefully there won't be like a ton of audio problems with this. Audio still recording here. Okay, good. Just making sure because like last time this kind of messed up. So I go through the game selection process. Still recording that. Good. And basically, over I show over the games I downloaded. And first off, I start with the tower defense game. So as you can see, the first thing that you'll notice on this tower defense game is that it opens up in like this widened format. So you have like the background here is my background, and they have this like box. You can't full screen it. You can't sort of adjust the resolution or the size or any of it like that. It is simply this screen in the middle here. Like you would a mobile phone. It doesn't scale, and as you can see, there's no keyboard input, right? It's all tapping like you would like a finger or some type of input. There's also no controller support for this game, so you kind of just have to like click on stuff, and that's it, right? There's also not like an indicator. Like if I'm hovering over stuff, it doesn't enlarge and it doesn't have any of that stuff. So the next game I tested was Ronin the Samurai, and that actually worked a lot better because it had accurate keyboard and mouse. So you could WASD to movement, you could left click, right click, things actually mapped correctly, things said, hey, click here, hey, tap F type of thing. Because I believe that game did work with a controller, so I was able to rebind keys and stuff quite easily from that. So as you can see, you could attack, you could go back and forth. All the buttons had like animations to them. They weren't just like not realizing that you clicked on them, so that was good. As you said, the F key does work. You could go around there. You could adjust music. Everything worked well for that. It displayed in full screen, which was also really nice. It scaled relatively well. Not a bunch of like artifacts and weird things happening. So I'd say, in general, this was a much better sort of translation from a mobile to a PC game that has been. There is some little bit of latency and some oddities there, but overall, I'd say this is a much bigger success than everything else. The next thing I tested was the Mobile Legends Bang Bang, and that was, I guess, worse because of a couple things. First off, when it went to full screen, it did not do the full resolution thing, so we still had the very pixelated, very not good sort of models there. The second thing was, well, WASD did work for movement and stuff. None of the other keybinds worked, so you couldn't keybind the main attack to left click or any of the supplementary like 2, 3, or 4 attacks to any of the 2, 3, 4 buttons or any of that stuff. You had to click on tap on each one and then drag the mouse like you would typically on a circle that way. So that wasn't great. The game did not register WASD from a gameplay like joystick perspective, so while it did move, it didn't register it. So when doing the tutorial, you had that thing pop up that said, hey, you want to move around, and that just like didn't go away for the entirety of the tutorial section, so that was kind of annoying. So with the not scaling, the no key binding, the bad latency as well, there's very bad latency from movement and stuff. Overall, it just wasn't really a fun experience, and it also took a little bit to load there. And I think that was the thing I came back to on my next one, which was Asphalt 9. I timed this in the first one. The Asphalt 9 loaded, and as I said before, you have to have all these on SSD or really fast SSD, and you'd think, okay, well, that means, boom, immediate load times because these load on a phone, loading with a proper SSD will be pretty quick. This took over 2 minutes to load a game that could have loaded in half that time on my phone. I'm not kidding. From 1544 to 1754 of the original recording, this absolutely just destroyed all the benefits you could have had from an SSD, and now it's just loading really slowly. So another thing that was a problem with this game was not only did it load slowly, but the music was on full blast, and it ran like crap. It was at 30 frames a second, maybe, if that. It looked like garbage because it didn't scale well, even if it did open in full screen. The keyboard controls, well, they did show up as keyboard controls, were super unintuitive, and couldn't reprogram them and all that stuff. So overall, it's just a really not fun experience. Crashing through stuff, looking like garbage, not having good keybind stuff. Music was also kind of glitchy and weird. And so overall, I would just say I really don't recommend this service. I don't think there's any use for this service. I think a lot of the games that are on here are a waste of time, and all the games that should be on here are not on here. And so with that, I would just basically say, yeah, don't get this service. If you want to, try out these games, just try them out on your phone. The one good thing, I guess, is that cross progression and stuff does exist, so you can, try out a game here, and then if you want to continue on your phone, you can do that. But yeah, overall, it's just kind of like a disappointment because I was looking for, I guess, potentially some way to play some of the mobile games I'm still playing at this point on my PC, but I guess I'll just have to wait for a different service down the line. So yeah, if you'd like this and want to see more of this kind of like discussion-based review thing in the future, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and hopefully we'll see you all next time and this audio doesn't break again.